Hello and welcome to day two of Test 3 that happens in Cape Town. Here we are on Cricbuzz Chatter. We have with us Shaun Pollock from Cape Town and me, Dinesh Karthik. Polly, what a day it's been. It's ebbed and flowed, but somehow India found a lead of 13 and they're batting again and they're batting pretty confidently at 57 with a good second wicket partnership as well. How do you see the day that has unfolded so far?
Yeah, I just get the feeling one of these teams is, or we waiting for one of the teams to take the game by the scruff of the neck. It's even Stevens in many ways. It all goes down to what happens tomorrow in that first hour or 2 hours. But I think both teams have basically missed an opportunity to, in such an important game, it's the decider of the series. Both teams have let themselves down a little bit from the batting department. I think India would have been disappointed with 223. South Africa will be disappointed with 210 after being 150 odd for four to collapse the way they did. But I just think there has been some good bowling. We can't get away from that. The pitch is offering some assistance if you hit some good areas. As a batter, I would hate to face Rabada from the one end and Bumrah from the other, because those two have been the pick. They have asked so many questions. And we sit here at day two trying to work out what's going to happen in the game going forward. There's been plenty of instances through the game where there's been wickets falling back to back. And teams just basically haven't been able to go anywhere. So it's in the balance. The series still on the line. There's definitely going to be a result. It's just going to be which team can win. Can it be history for India, or can South Africa find a way?
It's good that you brought up Bumrah and Rabada. First, we'll talk about Jasprit Bumrah because Kohli Rabada was brilliant yesterday. But today, the man for the moment, Jasprit Bumrah, 7th 5-wicket haul, Polly. How did you see the way? I mean, just the way he bowled, the way he sets up batsmen. What did you think?
Yeah, I think he's been brilliant. That's the one part of it, but also not giving away any free deliveries. We walked down to our wrap at the end of play yesterday, and he had bowled 4 overs. He had picked up 1 wicket, hadn't gone for a run. And as I walked past him, I said, "Gee, you've been really expensive. You got to stop bowling those half volleys." And he just smiled at me. But it was more the case in point today. There is nothing that you get for free. I think of the runs that he went for, I think it was 40 odd. I think there was at least 20 that were like almost Chinese cuts or inside edges that beat the keeper. And they weren't through bad deliveries. They were through unbelievable deliveries, unplayable deliveries that has just found the inside edge and gone away to the boundary. So him and Shami have been the key. It was a little spell there where they brought Shami into the attack. I loved his energy that he approached the crease with. And then Bumrah backed him up from that side. I was worried for him at one stage. It looked like the ball kept landing in no man's land and that he wasn't going to pick up his fifer, because he really did deserve it. He deserved more wickets at the Wanderers. He just got the one in that test match. But his performance, his control, the questions he asked in this game were just simply superb, like the bowler he is.
Do you find Mohammad Shami to be a brilliant foil for him? I know he's got a 5-wicket haul as well, but do you find it a terrific, potent bowling attack from both sides? And how do you, in general, assess the way the Indian bowlers have bowled so far in Cape Town?
Yeah, I think, Dika, it's like different angles, isn't it? So you've got Bumrah coming from slightly wider on the crease, who has the ability, even though he gets his arm over the perpendicular, he's still got that ability to shape the ball away and in at will. And then Shami gets a little bit tighter and is a bit more of a skiddy customer who's sort of at you the whole time, giving you nothing to leave alone and keep putting the pressure on you. I think they've been backed up nicely by the third and fourth seamers who's ever played, and Ashwin's done a little bit of a job. But I think it has been those two. And sometimes you get that, in a particular tour, you get guys who've got their rhythm. They've worked out what areas they want to hit, what lengths they're going to hit and be successful in that country. And those two have been your case in point. And India will just be hoping that one more time round that they go and bowl brilliantly and can wrap things up when they do get the opportunity to defend the total.
And the way India bowled, I thought the lengths they hit, they used the crease well. They went over and round for the left-hander as well. The way they set
up. Just hold on. Patrick, sorry. It's live TV.
Just the way Bumrah is able to sometimes cause fear to the lower order batsmen. I don't want to speak about his bowling skill, which is there for everybody to see, but just his mental skill. He had this kind of a tiff with Marco Jansen, just the way he came and bowled at him, just the attitude that he brought to the crease. And after he got him out, just a steely stare, which says much more than a million words, I guess. And it was just brilliant to watch, just the tussle, the way he's able to stitch together wickets. He just got 2 top order wickets, but cleaned up the team. And, just the way he was bowling at that stage.
Yeah, I think aggression is key, particularly in South Africa, where you can be aggressive with the short pitch deliveries to the bowlers who come into bat. That old adage of the bowlers' union is long gone. That song, long time ago, I can still remember, where you didn't used to bowl bounces. And yeah, it's been interesting to see. Both teams, when the bowlers come to the crease, they really are giving them some uncomfortable deliveries to deal with. But in saying that, I mean, the bowlers looked uncomfortable, the batters looked uncomfortable. The only guy who at stages against Bumrah looked comfortable, like he had sorted out his game plan, was Keegan Peterson. I think even you would have been impressed by the way he played, and he seems to be a real find for us. He's backed up his performance at the Wanderers with another one here, and I'd be interested to hear what you've got to say about what you've seen from that side.
I saw him batting fully today, and there's one side where I believe that he is, the next big thing for South Africa, because just his composure at the crease, the way he's able to play the back foot punches because he's short, and also the flick, very impressive. AP de Villiers put out a tweet saying this boy can play, and if AP de Villiers says something, then I'm sure he means it, because he's seen him in close quarters. Like you could say, the long and the short is Keegan Peterson can play. I'm very excited with the composure, skill, and technique I've seen against one of the best attacks in the world, and that sums it up for us. And keep Keegan Peterson one side. The rest of the batters, Polly, flattered to deceive a little bit. A couple of them got starts, but just couldn't get going, Polly.
Yeah, for me, the mode of dismissals. I mean, when you think of like Keshav, I mean, we won't be too judgmental on him. Aiden was a little bit in between whether he decided to go or not go. But it's your Thunder Distance, Bavuma, Verena. Those three we needed contributions from. And in many ways, there wasn't like that positive energy, like a real aggressive foot movement into the half volley and trying to play it from there. They were a little bit stuck on the crease. And mindset-wise, I don't think they were in the right space. We know South Africa's got a big tail, and you're going to be asking a lot of those guys to contribute too much down the order. And I suppose the inexperience of some of the batters has maybe been shown up. So, I mean, in the last 30 innings, South Africa's only got over 300 on 4 occasions, and on 2 of those, Quinton de Kock got hundreds. And that's concerning. Yes, you're going to play on certain wickets. We've seen them in South Africa here where it's difficult. But they've been around the world as well, and they aren't getting those big scores often enough. So that would be a real worry for the South African unit, and something they're going to have to work on.
Moving on from South Africa's batting, when I saw India's batting today, I think obviously Pujara and Kohli were brilliant, especially Kohli. He was leaving close balls that he generally covered drives, yet again putting his mind through. And just after the last ball, when he played it, he gave himself a fist pump, which tells me that he's really charged up and he's got a bat. But KL Rahul and Mayank Agarwal, as openers, Mayank getting out very similarly. What did you think, Paulie, of the way both of them got out?
Yeah, I think he's got a little bit of a similar thing to what Markram. I've never been a fan of guys who sort of pick the bat up steep and keep it close to them, because in order to defend or play, you've got to sort of drop it into the slot. There's a lot of the guys who have their back lift like quite low to the ground. Callis is an example. Joe Root is an example. Kohli to a degree. A.B. de Villiers, Kane Williamson. All those guys tend to keep their bat quite low, and they can be soft on what they decide to do. So if they want to bail out of a shot, they're not 100% committed to the downswing. They can just look to defend. And I think him and Markram have got a similar kind of issue where they maybe get out in front of each other on these surfaces that are nipping around. On the flatter surfaces in India, it's something that you can rely on your bat speed and whatever to get away with it. But when you've asked by the movement through the air and off the seam, sometimes I think that's found wanting. So that might be something he has to have a look at.
Absolutely. Ollie, time for hotspot now. Ollie, today we have a very different question to ask. Dale Steyn put out a very, very interesting tweet. He reckons that for the tailenders, if a bowler bowls a no ball, there should be a free hit to follow. And if you can read that, free hit for no ball in Test cricket, what do you think? Will definitely help the bowlers when batting survive those extended 7 or 8 and sometimes 9 ball overs, which happened in England recently when Bumrah bowled to Anderson. 6 balls is hard enough for the tailenders facing a top-class, life-threatening fast bowler. What's your take on that, Polly?
I'm not convinced. I think you guys, your batters have got enough going in your favor. I mean, let's think about it. So you go at the top of the order, you can bat for 150 overs, can't you? if you really want
Not
to, if
those
you have
wickets,
one of those
Kohli.
days. Well, not on these ones, but on some of the other ones. So to add a free hit in as well, and us bowlers get tired. We're trying to exert ourselves to
Well,
get
there's a difference
bowled.
that he's saying only for the tailenders. So basically 8, 9, 10, 11.
Oh, well, anything for the bowlers. So the bowlers coming to bat. Oh, of course, yes. Give them a free hit. Why not? Every 6 delivery should be a free hit for the guys down 9, 10, and 11.
It's a very interesting thought. I think obviously you get bowlers softening up the tailenders because obviously sometimes they face that, and we see this in the series between Marco Jansen and when Bumrah comes. There's no love lost between the two, and both of them have got each other's wickets. So it's interesting thought, food for thought actually. But I don't see it happening because how do you classify a tailender? Then they'll start putting batsmen a little lower. Maybe if they bowl a ball, no ball, then they get a free hit to follow. So it's interesting that he thinks like that, but I don't see it happening. But what we can see happening is fast forward. In many ways, the first innings is nullified. Yes, India have a 17-run lead, but it's almost par. They're 70 runs ahead. But how do you see day 2 panning out? India's experience, South Africa's familiarity. What do you expect from the conditions? And lastly, what do you think is a good target for South Africa to chase and for India to defend?
Yeah, well, it's an interesting question because you got to basically go into both camps, don't you? So from a South African perspective, thinking as the coaching staff, you got to go in and say, okay, guys, India has never won a test series in South Africa, so there's going to be additional pressure on whenever they come out to defend whatever score. They set us 240 at the Wanderers, and we managed to knock that off with just 3 wickets down. So there must be a little bit of doubt in that camp, right? And then India on the other side is saying, come on, guys, we've got it to 70 for 2. If we go in here and get 250 on that kind of wicket, Ashwin's going to play more of a part. We can definitely bowl South Africa out. We've seen their batting lineup. There's a few guys who've got some bees buzzing around in their head about their techniques and what they should or shouldn't do. Yeah, I always say this test cricket and for the coaching staff, you almost have to be a psychologist or a spin doctor. You've got to keep coming up with these different angles to make your team believe that they're in the mix and that they can go and do the job. So I think that's vitally important for both sides. I think South Africa will be wanting to keep it as low as possible. That obviously makes sense. I think anything over 250 is very competitive. Anything near 350, it's game done and dusted, I would say. So I think South Africa's aim would be to try and keep them under 225-ish. And I think India will be thinking, let's get to 250 and apply some pressure. I don't know, maybe from the outside, from your side, do you think differently?
No, pretty similar, I would say. It's been a very enthralling cricket, but it's been obvious what the chinks in the armory are for both teams. Both the teams haven't actually batted to their potential. South Africa have a far lighter batting compared to India, but India, a lot of the times, they start well, they find partnerships, but somewhere they seem to, fritter away a bit. So India, for me, if they can manage anything over 270, I think they'd be sitting pretty in this test match. South Africa, on the other hand, they have chased down 240 on a tougher wicket in Johannesburg. But the one man they haven't played much is Ashwin, and he will come into this game very much in the 4th innings. At least that's what everybody thinks as of now. So anything under 240, again, I think South Africa will obviously fancy themselves. But a lot will depend again on the batsman who's going to take strike for South Africa, Dean Elgar. I think he's that glue that holds South Africa together. So if they get him out early, then any score is going to be hard enough for South Africa. On that note, I think it's been a fabulous test match. It's going at the rate of knots, though. In 2 days, 20 wickets plus another 2 make that 22 wickets have fallen. So it's going to be interesting to see how many more days of Cricbuzz Chatter we're going to have. But for the moment, it's thank you from Dinesh Karthik and Shaun Pollock. We will see you tomorrow for sure on Cricbuzz Chatter.